How do you know if your fundraising performance is good or bad or somewhere in between? You can always compare to your own data and see how you've performed over time. But it's often helpful to get a little bit more context and color to add to your picture to see how you're truly performing compared to other organizations. That's where Avid Benchmarks comes in. Avid Benchmarks is unique from other benchmarking tools and reports for a couple of reasons. First of all, the data that you see is real time. All the data is being pulled from CRM tools and email platforms, analytics tools on a day-to-day basis, where most other benchmark tools and reports, they might be several months out of date by the time they get published. In many cases, they're a year plus out of date before you ever see any of the data. If you're comparing to data that's a year plus old, it's not really that helpful to help you make better strategic decisions today. Avid Benchmarks lets you compare to other organizations across the nonprofit sector so you can get real-time insights based on what happened as soon as yesterday. The other thing about this tool is that the data is real. Many other benchmarks are self-reported data, it's survey data, it's not actually pulling from the real platforms. Because Avid is tied into all these various platforms across the nonprofit sector, the data is reliable and trustworthy. No one's inflating their own results when they fill out a survey. It's real data that you can trust. Now, diving into the tool, there's a handful of ways you can use this to draw some great insights for you and for your organization. First of all, you can obviously look across the full data universe and see how you're comparing to the nonprofit industry as a whole. But you can also drill into verticals to see how do you compare to other organizations that might be similar to yours, working in the same sort of area and cause as yours. You can drill into specific revenue ranges. So if you're a $5 million organization, you're not always comparing to a $50 million or a $500 million. You can compare to other organizations that are relatively your size to see how you're performing. Looking into the actual reports and the data, you'll see that there are lots of reports in here that are going to look similar to different data points you've seen in other benchmark reports as well. Change in revenue, change in active donors, how often are people giving, how much are they giving when they do choose to give, what's the average revenue per donor. But you can also drill into a lot of other interesting things that many benchmark reports aren't able to surface to you, but are really critical in helping you understand where should you go next in your program. Everything from deeper insights on donor acquisition and where they're coming from, all the way to retention and reactivation rates to see how are you reactivating those donors over time compared to other organizations. You can start to drill into donor life cycle data to see not just those new donors, but how are they moving into a second-year relationship, into a third-year or key multi-year relationship, and so on and so forth. If you scroll back to the top and you click over to the benchmarks by giving level, you can drill into things like mid-level and major donors as well as broad-based. So you're not seeing everything combined. You can actually split out these key donor segments to get better insights that are going to be more applicable for you and for your fundraising. You can see lots of charts to drill into broad-based giving. You can see monthly recurring giving and how that might be affecting your results as well. And one of my favorite reports is actually seeing the contactability of these donors. Do you have an email address? Do you have a mailing address? Do you have a phone number? And what's the impact of having those different ways to contact them? So you'll find a tremendous amount of data that's going to help you make better strategic decisions for your fundraising as you start to utilize Avid Benchmarks to add some more color and context to your fundraising.